know, we have a lot of people out here who are reciting words, reciting things, and they haven't measured anything. You know, our Savior measured every square inch of everything. Okay, now, I'm not saying that I am our Savior, but I am saying that I can appreciate what He did because it set a good example for me, because I know I need to measure everything. I can't go out here and just recite stuff and say I believe it without having measured it, you know, because that makes a distinction when you measure it. You know, a man is not going to teach what he doesn't believe. Isn't that something? Don't be like Muhammad said, a man will not teach what he doesn't believe now. And the reason you know, a lot of people believe after so many other people say they believe. But these same people, they don't measure anything for themselves. So, you know, and like the messenger said, salt is only as good as its saving power. But anyway, I am back this week to discuss quite a few things. And one of the first things I want to bring out is that, you know, as we bear witness, Thomas Jefferson warned the founding fathers of this. He said, if we become a nation of shopkeepers and we let the shopkeepers run the government, he said, we'll be a nation where shopkeepers are the government. So now, this is what we have today. We have that today. The shopkeepers are the government. Now, this is a small group of people, and the reason I say that is because let's find out quickly how many people in the state of North Carolina are transgenders, lesbians, gays, and homosexuals, or whatever. You know, I don't know all the details on it. But because we don't want to put them in an environment that could be harmful to them, especially a school environment, you know, 1st through 8th grade, 9 through 12, you know, these are very, very, you know, these are high-strung years of life in the life of a human being. You know, first 12 years of school. So, and then the law says we got to be there at least until we're 16 years old. And then we got all these different households that children are coming out of. Children are coming out of households where there's only one parent, one guardian, and they only see that one parent or that one guardian maybe 3-4 hours a day. And that's mostly on the weekend when they don't work. You got some children that are basically raising themselves because, or their other siblings, their younger siblings, because they're one parent. She works 2 or 3 jobs and she works 7 days a week. So what do we have influencing these children? Well, we have television influencing them. And then we have other people in the community influencing them. Now, if you're walking in the 9th grade and your mother is catching a bus, and the people down the street are driving 2 or 3 cars, well, you know, that's an influence on you because you'd like to know what they do to have those cars. So then you go down there and you find out they're selling drugs. You know, that's how he has a car, okay? And he's about 3 or 4 years older than you, so, you know, there goes the influence. And then there are those who influence to go into athletics, you know, which is good. Those who are influenced to pursue education. There are many influences in every environment. It doesn't matter how bad the environment is or how good the environment is. And this is what and this is the identification of what is a good environment or bad environment is basically based on materialism, in America. You know, housing project is considered a bad environment. Well, you might go through a gated community. I think down there in Georgia, you had a very upstanding community where two young men tried to kill their parents. So I mean, we can't identify what's bad and what's good based on the appearance or the financial aspects of a community. Nor can we say this community is going to produce murderers because a lot of people get killed over there. Nor can we say this community is going to produce millionaires because everybody over there is driving a car and living in a nice house with both parents. Okay? So, all those type of generalizations need to be discarded. But anyway, government. Okay, so we now, like we understand this now. Thomas Jefferson's idea has come to pass. This is what's being revealed. The nation is governed by shopkeepers, corporations, because they have the money. So that means all these wars in Afghanistan, all these wars is about what? Drugs. Control substances. Control, that key word, control. Cocaine is a controlled substance. They didn't say it was a bad substance. They just said it was a controlled substance. Because everything that comes out of the cacao plant, all your pharmaceutical companies use it. Your dentists use it. Okay? It is probably in a lot of the drugs that are used to help injured football players and basketball players and soccer players continue to play, and then we have the poppy plant, which produces the heroin, the morphine, the codeine, which is used to relieve the pain of cancer on cancer patients. So the drug companies are making a lot of money off of these controlled substances, and at the same time, these controlled substances, these pharmaceutical companies, are controlling the way the government addresses the situation of controlled substances. Like President Obama just released quite a few people who were in prison that were nonviolent offenders and were receiving some Bill Clinton type sentences. I call them Bill Clinton sentences because he's the one that got that bill across. He was one of the bills that was on the bill. 3 strikes you're out bill, and it was considered a war on crime. But let's be for real now. It was a war on a group of people who they wanted to control. And it was about a controlled substance. Okay. Now, and I could really tell you what the real intention is, but I'm not going to tell you. But then again, I'll say this. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the intention is to destroy us. He said that's the intention. To destroy us, to keep us forever from ever coming back to our original position in the creation, which was the owner and the ruler. Okay, so now, look at what happened in Charlotte. Okay, look at what happened in Charlotte now. The mayor was the black mayor, young black mayor, was filmed. He was filmed by the Federal Bureau of Investigation making a deal, getting him some personal money, talking about how much power he had to make things happen. Well, homeboy got tricked. Now, what is being revealed here? Okay, first of all, we will know how much he will reveal based upon how much time he gets. Because if he gets a lot of time, he's going to reveal a lot of things that's going to affect a whole lot of other people. Okay? Because you don't get to the point that he was without the influence of other people. You don't get to the point of becoming the mayor of one of the I think it's the largest city in the state of North Carolina, Charlotte. You don't get to become the mayor of Charlotte, North Carolina without the influence and the help of many people. And people are influencing you in many ways. Okay? He did not get to that position just on his own influence. He had to be influenced to believe that he could do that kind of thing. So now the length of time that he is sentenced will determine how much they believe that he knows and will reveal, like I said, about people who don't want this type of thing to be revealed. You know, in other words, they don't want him to turn on the lights. That's what the deal is. Don't turn on the lights in all the rooms or places. Leave some places absent of light because we just don't want people to know everything. So, you know, that's how the situation works. You know, you look at them, you know, they'll bust white people in Congress, in the government, and they'll give them a slap on the wrist or, you know, fine them or whatever. But everything that determines how the degree of punishment that they receive is based upon how much they can reveal out of what they know. That could probably affect someone else's position in the same arena. And that is something that they always are careful of when they bust one of their own. Okay, so now, like I said, that is being revealed by what happened to the black mayor of Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay, in the House Bill 2, it is being revealed that all of the politicians, all of the elected officials down there in Raleigh, North Carolina, mayor included, governor included, former mayor of Charlotte, they all are controlled by the corporations. So we are all looking at a government that is ruled by shopkeepers, corporate structures. Okay, now let's talk about some measurements. I was doing a radio interview and the young man mentioned to me about the fact that Allah says in the Holy Quran that he appreciates Black Lives Matter because whatever takes place, we're supposed to, the prophet says, to speak out against it. And if you don't have the wherewithal to speak out against it, let it be against it in your heart. Or if You can physically act out against it. Now, that is really something that should be practiced, and while being practiced, maybe it should be stated, in my thinking. And I'm going to give you the reason why. In 1967, the administration at the college that I was attending was having some problems protecting the students on campus because in the city, the so-called streetwalkers or young men who lived in the city were coming on the campus destroying school property because the campus was right in the middle of, as some people say, the middle of the neighborhood, and the neighborhood was not, there was a little crime in the neighborhood, and there was a housing project very close to the college. But anyway, the people in the city were attacking students on campus, and they were destroying school property on campus. So the policemen who worked on the school campus, they were turning their heads the other way, which is something that everybody kind of figured out. And so the first thing that the administration did, instead of listening to the students, express the fact that these things were taking place because the police were not running away the neighborhood block boys, as they were called back then. So what they did, they raised the breakage fee of the students, the male students that lived in the male dormitory at that time. Now, I'm not going to call any names, but I attended this school, and I was an honor student at this school. So the Student Government Association, in their meeting, they expressed the fact that we should protest this, we should act against this. So, of course, at that time, I was not aware of Islam. I was not aware of the word Muslim. I was not aware of Prophet Muhammad. I was not aware of the Holy Quran. I wasn't aware of any religion other than the Presbyterian, and I really wasn't aware of that because my family was not, they were not holy rollers, but they were very decent people, and they believed in doing unto others as you would have them do unto you, and they practiced that. So, anyway, I got the feeling from the student government meeting that protest was something that needed to be done. So I made the protest. I certainly did. I made the protest, and I destroyed some school property, admitted it to show my resentment of us being charged breakage fee. And I was betrayed by everyone. Everyone got away from me like I was poison. Felt very bad about that. I got put out of school. So that same year, I went to Detroit, Michigan to work in the for the assembly plants up there for automobiles, because I had heard that you make a lot more money up there than you did in the South. In the South at that time, the highest wages you could make was about $1.65 an hour. But if you go to Detroit, and I had a lot of homeboys up there, if you go to Detroit, work in the assembly plant, you can make maybe $5, $6 an hour. And so this was big money in 1967. So I went up there to Detroit, and I think it was May of 1967. And the people at the black college, the HBCU, they wouldn't even let me finish. They wouldn't let me finish out the semester. They put me out of school 7 days before reading day. And if you understand what that is, reading day is the day before the final exams begin. They wouldn't let me stay there and complete the semester. That's how angry they were at me for for my resentment of what they did, my protest. Now, at the same time, all the people that were attached with the Student Government Association, they didn't speak to me. They got away from me like I was poison. Okay, I felt betrayed, but you know, I dealt with it. But I was in Detroit, and there was a riot. I never went back to work after the riot for the simple reason that what had happened is some Detroit policemen had raided what they call a blind pig, which is an after-hour joint where they sell alcohol and whatnot. And it was raided on 12th Street in Claremont, and I lived about maybe 18 blocks from there. And so they attacked a 14-year-old girl, beat her up real bad with one of those nightsticks, which is a piece of oak wood and a piece of steel in the center of the wood. So they beat the girl up pretty bad. And 14 years old. And so this is why the riot started. So the riot just spread all over the place. And at the time, when it was revealed what had actually happened, people in the neighborhood, black people, just automatically, we were like a swarm of bees or what you call piranha fish in the water. We were just moving toward all of this activity. So it turned out to be the worst riot in the history of the United States of America. Interestingly enough, I learned another hard lesson. After about 3 or 4 days, the white man decided, or the administration of the city of Detroit, they decided that in that 154 block area, it was necessary for them to cut off the waters and the lights. And once they did that, all the black people who were once united and in agreement with each other and helping one another started fighting one another. And I was a victim in that situation. I ended up with a black eye. Yeah, and I won't go into detail about it, but I was attacked by 2 brothers. And I had just rioted with these brothers. We had just gone into liquor stores and grocery stores, and one night we had just rioted, okay? Same, cut the lights and the water off. Hey, turned against each other. Then, when I was in the Nation of Islam, now I'm going to be quick. Well, no, I'll get into this next week. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is this. When you act on things, it's better to act on things while you actually are saying these things, rather than say these things and hope somebody else acts or tries to get somebody else to act. See, this is what we need to be careful of, for the simple reason that we have people who have exploited the sacrifice of other people and incited these people to make these sacrifices. And those people are our enemies. Those people are the ones who are trying to get closer to our enemies. So they set up organizations and they set up what you call movements. And they coerce others to get out front in the movement and make the sacrifices. And then after the people make the sacrifices, they run in and pretend to be the leaders of the movement and so concerned about the movement But they didn't make any sacrifices. They just took advantage of those that they were able to convince to make the sacrifices. Now, we'll get into this next week because this goes goes a lot deeper than most of you all realize. So I'm going to say again, talk on it, YouTube channel, Assalamu Alaikum, my new brother, No Kareem Abba. Good talking to you.
There is a many people who have not known God. And there is a many people that know God. Their white race knows God. But they can't represent God as you and me do, as they will be given away the power to rule. They was not to rule under the teachings of reality of God. They was made to hide the reality